A haunted village. A tragic story about greed and a chilling mystery. This place is one of the most overlooked places in the whole game. But today we are going to investigate. So get something to drink, grab some snacks and enjoy the video. Frischlow Village. A small secluded village in the southern outskirts of Wielen. A few houses mark its spot. The inhabitants long gone and the buildings in a bad condition. Now only inhabited by a few wraiths. But as unremarkable Frischlow seems, it revolves around an overlooked mystery. What in the world happened here? As already mentioned, the village is pretty unremarkable. It consists of only a few houses, 5 to be exact. Probably once housing around 20 to 25 people in total, and a small graveyard with a crumbled church south of Frischlow. But the moment you look a little closer, you realize that something is out of the ordinary. There are bodies scattered around the whole village. Not just 10, not just 20 but hundreds of them, all piled up and ready to be eaten by ghouls. One cannot imagine what must have happened here and the game never gives an explanation to it. Hundreds of dead bodies but no one knows or heard of it in all of Wielen. Something doesn't seem right. When you arrive here for the first time, you only encounter a few wraiths here. After freeing the village from the wraiths, nothing else will spawn or happen here. The village will be completely abandoned. But its eerie atmosphere persists throughout the game. Multiple watchtowers and barricades are scattered around Frischlow, implying that either the inhabitants or an army fortified this village, the signpost hinting to the army. Like many other settlements in the area, this one has suffered greatly on account of the war. Its inhabitants have abandoned their property and evacuated lands in which they once dwelled in relative peace. Where the original inhabitants went and when this happened is unknown, but it has to be a while ago since the buildings are mostly collapsed and uninhabitable. There isn't any forge or farm in Frischlow and the swamp surrounding the village isn't the most hospitable place to live in. But there is a small dock located at the shores, so they lived off of fishing and trading most likely. The villagers probably had a rough life out there. First of all, how did all these bodies end up here? What happened here? Who has done this? And who is it? It can't be the villagers, as the signpost states that they evacuated the village. So who were these people? These might be refugees fleeing from the war, maybe new inhabitants. Or perhaps the fallen soldiers of the ongoing war. The fact that you can find watchtowers and barricades in Frischlow speaks for this and is backed up by the fact that you can find remains of soldiers among the horrible amount of bodies. Some wear plated armor, others wearing only padded armor, so some kind of hierarchy must have been present. But then emerges the question what they were doing in such an insignificant place. I have two possibilities that come to mind. The first one, Frischlow being some kind of border post. Its unique location is perfect for channeling people as it is surrounded by a huge lake and the sea and forms a land bridge. So you can only approach from either east or west. The same concept as the border post that's present near Oxenfurt. But this doesn't explain the piles of bodies. The other possibility is that this was a place to bring the dead. South of Frischlow is a graveyard and a ruin which was presumably a church. We haven't seen many villages with their own graveyard, but Frischlow, for being such a small hamlet, has a proportionally massive graveyard. This couldn't be just the graves of inhabitants of Frischlow. It might be that Frischlow was a place to bring the dead to their final rest. Surrounding villages would bring their dead to Frischlow to be buried, as they themselves didn't have enough space. There are multiple wagons spread across the village. Some even still have bodies inside. And we in fact know that people would do that. As we can encounter Gert Borel. He is dragging a wagon filled with victims of the Catriona plague.
What? No, it's my job. Well paid too.
Gert never tells us why he is doing this, only that it pays well. He might have been heading to Frischlow to bring the dead, to get them out of the villages and away from the living. This would explain why there are hundreds of bodies in Frischlow. Even a battle usually wouldn't produce so much death. And that the dead would be rounded up and burned after a battle is very unlikely, as seen by multiple battlefields in Wieland.
Fucking hell, that stinks.
The village is taken over by death. Multiple wraiths haunting this place, calling it their home. The village is in disrepair and won't be inhabited by the living for a long time. But at least you can free it from the roaming spirits. But that's far from everything here. There is a very interesting phenomenon to be encountered here. One that even if observed isn't given to much thought as it slips by your mind. Take your time and explore a little bit or meditate till night. All of a sudden, the village feels warmer. A rotten smell is filling the air. And fire erupted from the piled bodies. Every night at 8 the bodies start to burn all of a sudden. But you were the only one there. No one else who lit them up. No monster spewing fire and northwest wraith haunting this place anymore. You are all alone. The tree branches snapping. Winds howling. The dead are still lingering here and you might even hear their echoes from the past. If you listen closely you can hear something in the distance. You can't really locate where it's coming from. You don't see anyone. You are alone. But you definitely hear the pick hitting against the stone. If you already did the quest, A Tower Full of Mice, one of the best quests in the game, you have the ghost lantern. This ghost lantern might shed some light on this. Underneath a cliffside you can spot an echo of a long-gone person. Mining the stone and trying to get into a cave. He won't stop mining and doesn't even react to you. Caught in this endless loop of mining away forever. As you explore the area around the village, you can spot something in the distance. Another wraith. A noon wraith to be precise. This noon wraith probably was one of the only inhabitants of Frischlow for a longer time. With her rotten body and ghostly screams she roams the remains of the graveyard. At night she prays for explorers who venture into the hamlet. But she wasn't always a wraith. Her name was Lady Caroline and she lived in Frischlow along with the other inhabitants. One faithful day she died. The people prepared her to be laid to rest. Lady Caroline was of good wealth and her belongings should be buried with her. But people in despair do things that aren't right. So Paulie, the man preparing her, wrote this letter to his friend.
Read close, mate. Lady Caroline's hand herself. Tragic love affair, something like that. Some gallant gent stole her virtue, and then split, her belly started swelling and, well, tragic results. But enough about that. Let's get to the meat of the matter. I helped prepare her for her funeral, and I'm telling you, the shite they stuck in her coffin. More riches than in a Coviry vault. I'm telling you, you couldn't even see the body for the glare coming off all that silver and gold. So I'm thinking all those baubles won't be one prick's lick of good to our dearly departed lady in the afterlife, whereas you and I, why, we could put it to fine use in the here and now. So perhaps we should lighten her coffin a little bit, so as nothing goes to waste. Thing is, I can't go anywhere, but you're a free man. So grab a shovel and head out to the swamp graveyard. Start digging where folk have laid out fresh flowers. Then we'll meet up and split everything fair and square. Half for you, half for me. Deal?
But Paulie and his friend couldn't foresee what would happen. Desecrating a grave usually doesn't suit well with the person 6 feet under. Her spirit would start to roam the village, haunting the place at night. This might even be the real reason the inhabitants of Frischlow left. She drove them off or even killed them. And Lady Caroline might even be the one who killed the soldiers and is trying to give a proper farewell to the innocents who died that day. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, as this also helps out me. And remember, winds howling.